This is Cheryl Peterson with Healing Science Today. I'm going to read a contemporary Christian Science Bible lesson sermon from the New International Version of the Bible, copyrighted by Biblica, and from 21st Century Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures, a modern version of Mary Baker Eddy's Science and Health. Subject: Christian Science and Healing. Golden text is from Matthew. The disciples were greatly astonished and asked, "Who then can be saved?" Jesus looked at them and said, "With man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible." Matthew. When they came to the crowd, a man approached Jesus and knelt before him. "Lord, have mercy on my son," he said. "He has seizures and is suffering greatly. He often falls into the fire or into the water. I brought him to your disciples, but they could not heal him." "You unbelieving and perverse generation," Jesus replied, "how long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy here to me." Jesus rebuked the demon, and it came out of the boy, and he was healed at that moment. Then the disciples came to Jesus in private and asked, "Why couldn't we drive it out?" 21st Century Science and Health. Surrounded by imperfection, perfection is seen and acknowledged only by degrees. People slowly work toward perfection. Why is it difficult to heal spiritually as Jesus did? Because people think miraculous healings are intended for a particular time periods or for exclusive groups of followers. That thinking is pernicious, more pernicious than the old doctrine of predestination, a few to be saved while the others are damned. Human-made doctrines produce lethargy, and so it is until broken by the demands of divine science. For centuries, yes, always, natural science has not really been considered a part of religion. Even now, many people consider the conventional sciences to have no proper connection with faith and spirituality. However, mystery does not obscure Christ's teachings. Truth's instructions are not theoretical and fragmentary, but are practical and open to new discoveries that reveal ongoing completion and law. And being practical and comprehensive, God's laws are not deprived of their essential vitality. Christianity and science can be viewed as one and the same in demonstration. Otherwise, one or the other is false and useless. Christianity, as Jesus taught it, was neither a creed, nor a system of sacred ceremonies, nor a special gift from a ritualistic Yahweh, but it was the demonstration of divine love, overcoming error and healing the sick, not merely in the name of truth, but in demonstration of truth, as in the ongoing cycles of divine light. Jesus taught the way of life by demonstration, so we may understand how this principle heals the sick, drives out mistaken mindsets, and triumphs over loss. This is the new understanding of spiritual love. It gives all for Christ's truth. It blesses its enemies, heals the sick, drives out wrongdoing, raises the dead from trespasses, and preaches the good news to humble hearts. Beyond the frail premises of human beliefs, above the loosening clutches of human policies, the demonstration of spiritual mind healing stands a revealed and practical science. Throughout all time and space, scientific demonstration is imperative as Christ's revelation of truth, of life, and of love, remaining inviolate for humanity to understand and to practice. The teachings of Christian Science are grounded in Scripture, but yet critics warn people that Christian scientists profess a belief in God, but what kind of a God? Certainly not the same kind of God the Bible presents. To obey Scripture is to heal as Jesus healed, divinely, Why deny Christian Science when it teaches divine healing? The words of divine science find their immortality in deeds, for their principle heals the sick and spiritualizes humanity. There is neither place nor opportunity in science for error of any sort. Every day makes its demands upon us for better proofs rather than verbal claims of Christian power. These proofs replace sin, sickness, and death with the power of spirit, as Jesus destroyed them. This is an element of progress, and progress is the law of God, whose law demands of us only what we can certainly fulfill. Don't repeat the ancients who asked, "Can God spread a table in the desert?" What can't God do? Matthew. Then the disciples came to Jesus in private and asked, "Why couldn't we drive it out?" He replied, "Because you have so little faith. Truly, I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you." When they came together in Galilee, he said to them, "The Son of Man is going to be delivered into the hands of men. They will kill him, and on the third day he will be raised to life." And the disciples were filled with grief. Science and Health. Jesus' example was all-inclusive. Not only was his life's work carried out to the end for himself, but his work also shows us how to work out our own deliverance. We must do what he did and what he taught us to do. His purpose in healing was not just to restore health, but to demonstrate his divine principle. He was inspired by God, by truth and love in all that he said and did. His persecutors were motivated by arrogance, envy, cruelty, and vengeance, inflicted on the physical Jesus, but aimed at the divine principle love, the love that rebuked their unspiritual mindsets. God will heal the sick through us whenever we are governed by God. Truth banishes error now as surely as it did 20 centuries ago. All of truth is not understood. That is why its healing power is not fully demonstrated. If sickness is true, or the idea of truth, you cannot destroy sickness, and it would be absurd to try. Jesus was put to death for the truth he spoke and demonstrated, while today we have interfaith dialogue. Divine science can explain differing doctrinal points, cancel disagreements, and settle questions. The aim is not to bring together doctrines and denominations. We can unite on the doctrine that God is one and is present now and forever. We can use Jesus' words and works to recognize that Jesus Christ is not God, as Jesus himself declared, but is the Son of God, just as we are the child of God. This fact understood doesn't conflict with another statement, "I and the Father are one," because Christ and God are one in quality, not in quantity. As a drop of water is one with the ocean, a ray of light one with the sun, even so God and spiritual being, parent and child, are one in being. The scripture reads, "For in him we live and move and have our being." Matthew. After Jesus and his disciples arrived in Capernaum, the collectors of the 2 drachma temple tax came to Peter and asked, "Doesn't your teacher pay the temple tax?" "Yes, he does," he replied. When Peter came into the house, Jesus was the first to speak. "What do you think, Simon?" he asked. "From whom do the kings of the earth collect duty and taxes? From their own children or from others?" "From others," Peter answered. "Then the children are exempt," Jesus said to him. "But so that we may not cause offense, go to the lake and throw out your line. Take the first fish you catch, open its mouth, and you will find the 4 drachma coin. Take it and give it to them for my tax and yours. 21st century science and health. Exclude from human mind all offending errors. Then the body cannot suffer from them. For centuries, yes always, natural science has not really been considered a part of religion. Even now, many people consider the conventional sciences to have no proper connection with faith and spirituality. However, mystery does not obscure Christ's teachings. Doctors can take note that it is better not to implant disease in the thoughts of your patients by declaring disease to be a fixed fact, even before you go to work to eradicate the disease through the material faith inspired. Instead of furnishing thought with fear, try to correct the turbulent emotion by the influence of divine love, which removes fear. The miracle of grace is not a miracle to love. Jesus demonstrated the inability of the human body as well as the infinite ability of spirit, thereby helping mistaken human consciousness to abandon its own convictions and seek safety in divine science. Reason, rightly directed, serves to correct the errors of fleshly sense. Sin, sickness, and death will continue to seem real, even as the experiences of the sleeping dreams seem real, until the science of our harmony breaks their illusion with the unbroken reality of scientific being. Our civil laws take cognizance of mental crimes and no longer apply legal rulings entirely to physical offenses. And it will go down in history that how we think or what we think directly or indirectly affects actions, including the actions of what we call physical bodies. The medical field is even somewhat recognizing the power of metaphysics. Dr. Dharma Singh Khalsa, MD, a pioneer in integrative medicine, testifies that medicine is a wondrously powerful medical modality. The meditation that I teach employs not just patients' mental energies, but also their physical energies. Beyond the frail premises of human beliefs, above the loosening clutches of human policies, the demonstration of spiritual mind healing stands a revealed and practical science. Throughout all time and space, scientific demonstration is imperative as Christ's revelation of truth, of life, and of love, remaining inviolate for humanity to understand and to practice. Be aware, thought influences can pretend to be good or in our best interest, but are just as dangerous as harmful drugs. This is mental malpractice and is criminal, working against common humanity, honesty, and justice. Divine science practice requires human mind to yield to and unite with the divine consciousness moving heavenward. Spirituality is again demonstrating the life that is truth and the truth that is life by the apostolic work of defeating error and healing the sick. Earth has no repayment for the persecutions which attend a new step in Christianity. The spiritual recompense of the persecuted is assured in the elevation of existence above the disorder and in the gift of divine love. When governed by God, the ever-present mind who understands all things, we know that with God all things are possible.